Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. So, guys, tropical storm Isaias, and a lot of people have been calling it Isaias at first, and then Isaias. Any way you look at it, it did pack a punch.
It does, and it still is too.
So we see right now it's making its way up through northern New England and heading up towards Canada. But as you can see here, it definitely did pack a wallop. Look at that. Those cars are on top of the other car. That's really pretty wild, because we were talking about a storm that was just going to be not too powerful and moving kind of quick. So usually that's good, but these times everything is kind of turned upside down. So you see the headline over here from the Weather Channel: one person dead, millions without power, as it slams the Northeast. And it did make a historic landfall in North Carolina, one of my favorite states, as I have lived both in the mountains there in the middle and also on the coast. As you see some shots here from along the coast, lots of videos there for you guys to look at too. Definitely did some damage. That's Oak Island. It's such a beautiful area. Pawleys Island, South Carolina. Lots of flooding going on. And we see out of over here at least 2 people dead in North Carolina due to a tornado triggered by the storm. And we had talked about that tornado danger as well. As you get a shot of what it looked like, here comes the rain. Been through a few hurricanes myself, and fleed from one as well. They can be quote unquote exciting or terrifying depending on what's going on exactly where you are. So this is Southampton, New Jersey. As you see, a beautiful tree just falling down. And here you're actually looking at the storm surge coming on in. For sure, we have seen more powerful storms, although some people say they reminded them of Sandy. And taking a look at AccuWeather, you see the power outages have exceeded 3.5 million across the eastern U.S. New Jersey is accounting for more than 1/3 of the outages. And it certainly did a little damage to that bridge right there. Wiped it away there. And more trees down over here in New Jersey. PG&E is working on it. And so moving rapidly into Canada at the moment, maximum sustained winds of about 50 miles an hour. And it's racing to the northeast at 40 miles an hour, which is very fast. So we also have a major wildfire spreading in Southern California, with more than 8,000 people urged to evacuate. And this morning, when we first walked outside, it's like, is that smoke? I wonder if somebody has a fire going. But you know what? It isn't here. It's over in California. As look at the area that this was coming from, going into a large part of Arizona here. Pretty impressive from the satellite view. And there's more photos over here from NASA showing the spread of this fire. Now, it's 15% contained right now, but there are stronger winds forecast as well. So some evacuation orders were lifted on Tuesday in portions of Riverside County as firefighters made progress containing the massive apple fire in Southern California, which has burned more than 26,000 acres in the San Gorgonio wilderness. And so they said that residents in Riverside County residents were evacuated in parts of Cherry Valley and Banning, and they could return home as of Tuesday afternoon. All other evacuation orders and warnings in Riverside and San Bernardino counties remain unchanged. And strengthening winds are expected. So let's send our prayers to everybody over in that area. And France is fighting its forest fires as well, as we see forest fire in France triggering some evacuations. And then we had this, perhaps caused by lightning. So this is over in China. Fire was suspected of being struck by lightning. Or did the lightning cause the fire? Lots of fires around this world. In Albania, too, there are quite a lot of forest fires going here in several different areas. But we don't really hear about it so much, although they are fighting it. And here we see in St. Paul, Minnesota, fire destroys a construction site near Excel Energy Center. Interesting. Be on the lookout for... Obviously, we have a lot of things going on in this country. We've seen a lot of riots. We've seen a lot of protests, a lot of craziness. But as we are ramping up towards what looks to be outright war, I would keep an eye on anything that looks suspicious. In Las Vegas, set July heat records. No probability of monsoon anytime soon. And set the hottest overnight low of 95 degrees. Man, that's going to be a sticky night of sleep if you don't have AC.
It is, and plus you have the concrete jungle, makes everything even hotter.
It sure does. Very hot and dry conditions. So this was the 7th warmest July on record in Vegas. There really hasn't been any rain to speak of in the whole area there. And South Korea floods and landslides have now killed 14 after 42 days of rain. That sounds very biblical. Sounds just like Noah's flood. Or, the same flood that has been recorded in just about every other country, too, all around the globe. Meanwhile, in the land down under, we have snow engulfing Victorian towns as Melbourne braces for the coldest 4-day spell since 1996. So again, we have extremes. It's one extreme after another. Very cold air mass is moving over Victoria, bringing showers, snow, hail, thunder, and gusty winds. And there's severe weather warning for damaging winds going on there as well. And we've talked about all the damage from all the weather, but then you have this side of it too, with the plague that's going on. It's making it hard to actually harvest. And that's another problem because you don't have anybody out there, harvesting. And I've seen reports of people that were wearing masks, for instance. In some cases, they're having all sorts of breathing problems. We know it's not really healthy, especially if you're going to be working for 8 hours with a mask on. And even when, it's being outdoors. There was a case of guys on a golf course in New Mexico, and there's nobody else around them for like 50 yards. And, they got shut down and told they couldn't do that, even though they're so far away from everybody. And, if you're playing one hole at a time, that's pretty good social distancing, I would think.
It's extremely good social distancing.
Okay, so touching on what we talked about all morning, this was the big news. This was the explosion in Beirut. So it's coming out that we see the prime minister over there in Lebanon said there was an unacceptable situation there concerning ammonium nitrate. And there was 2,750 tons that was in a warehouse for 6 years without preventive measures to protect it. The chemical compound, which is commercially available, is also widely used in fertilizers and explosives. It wasn't clear what ignited the shipment, but at least 3,000 people were injured and 50 killed minimum. The numbers will rise, and it was quite an explosion. There was obviously a fire going, and then you see all sorts of little explosions going on, and then the big one. So, I question everything, and I don't believe the official story at all. It isn't it curious in this time of tensions, rising tensions, you have battles, underway in many locations, as we've talked about, hot points in Syria and in Iraq, as they decide to get annoying here with this. Syria and Iraq, as well as other places as well. And then this happens to happen. Yeah, I think there's all too convenient, if I'm not going to say excuse, what would I say? Or, there's always official explanations that come out. And then this is super curious. U.S. officials say unclear where President Trump received his information on the Lebanon explosion when he called it an attack, the Lebanon attack. But initial information does not appear to suggest it was an attack, as it tracks closer to the statements by Lebanese officials. Who's hiding what? Did he just give us all a little info there, as to what really went on?
Well, they are going to hide the truth as best they can. That's just, been how it's been forever.
Yeah, was that just a Freudian slip? Was that him, saying don't believe the official narrative? Kind of like going, you know what I mean? It's just all too curious, everything that we see going on. And meanwhile, by coincidence, we have a huge explosion over in Iran. 2 bombs, right? Iranian security forces surround the area. The second bomb is being defused by security forces. It's not just the U.S. that may have a lot of active sleeper cells in it. There could be a lot of active sleeper cells in Lebanon, in Iran, in Russia, in China. And there's a lot of technology at everybody's fingertips right now. And so with the economy collapsing, 33% decline in the last quarter. 33, guys.
Huh.
Interesting number, isn't it? Gold prices surged and actually reached an intraday record above $2,000 an ounce, 2013. Silver jumps nearly 5%. And, I've had Noble Gold and all those guys, offering to pay you money each month to push product. And we want to stay clear of that because, we operate on a donations basis, and I like that. And there are good things to get behind as far as good products. But I just don't want to go that route. Yet at the same time, we are going to get hyperinflation. So we could see what's coming. This $2,000, that might double very shortly. That might go 5 times very shortly. It's just to each his own, to do with it what you will. I want to thank everybody for your support on Patreon and Ko-Fi as well. Stay prepared for whatever's coming, guys, because we are really getting deep into the thick of it.
Yes, we are. God bless and namaste.
God bless and namaste.